Hi, my name is Sean Simpson, and I am doing an interview project for my human services class. So, hi, Dr. Holly. Um, I have one of my colleagues here, Zeina, and I will let her introduce herself.
Oh, hi. I'm happy to be meeting with you, Sean. My name is Zaina Laham. I am a patient solution specialist with MHSS. And I'm looking forward to this interview with you to get to know Sean a little more, and hopefully she'll get to know me a little bit more.
Yes, thank you. All right, so I'll go into really the expectations of this interview and what it's for, and a little bit about the project. And really, this is for Dr. Holly's class to interview those that are in helping roles in in their community or around the U.S. really. And for you, I thought it would be great to have you included in this because you're in a helper role in a few different capacities. So I'll just go through my questions that I have here, and then we'll just go from there. We'll talk about each of them. I might have
Okay.
some off script like follow-up questions, but nothing too serious. And yeah, I thank you for doing this with me.
Yeah, well, thank you for choosing me. Looking forward to
Absolutely.
it.
All right. So I know that you're doing work with MHSS, mental health strategies and solutions. Can you say your title and position for your second job in the helping field?
So I am currently a therapist. I'm interning through a clinical psychology program. I'm very excited to embark on this journey to be able to become licensed and work professionally with clients. Um, for the past few weeks, I've already been seeing clients, but I do have experience for the past three plus years in the realm of mental health, and I'm really looking forward to more experience and to be able to help even more.
Awesome.
Yeah.
All right. Okay, so for the first question here, I'll ask it and we can go from there. It just says, can you elaborate on what your roles are in the human and social services fields? And you kind of just did that for your therapy role, but what about with your MHSS role?
So with Emily HSS, my title is a patient solution specialist. I'm pretty sure you know that. So we do offer not just solutions, but we hear out people. It's so hard for them to take the first step and make an inquiry to ask for help, especially when it's related to mental health. And amidst the mental health crisis now, it's very challenging to even find appointments with providers. So, as my role, I make sure to hear them out, tailor their care, and even educate them of the multiple services that are available that they may not be aware of, and make sure that they are able to receive care with one of our providers.
That's great.
Yeah.
Yep. And for um, a little more on what you do in this role, what is it that you do?
So it involves booking appointments, answering phone calls, inbound, outbound, educating them about services such as talk therapy, psychiatric eval, getting them scheduled for medication management as well. Um, the company that I work with also offers TMS. It's a groundbreaking treatment. It's called transcranial magnetic stimulation, as well as Spravato as one of the other treatments. So there's a variety of services offered there, kind of educating them, helping them throughout the process, gathering required information, and making sure they receive the care that they genuinely need.
That's great. And since I am in this field with you, doing the same thing with you, I do know a little bit about that. So that's awesome. Yep. And we are really just connecting those patients to their providers that are within their insurance. I think you explained that perfectly. And
Yeah.
then for your therapy role, I guess that's pretty self explanatory what you're doing. over on that side. um,
Yeah, it involves a lot of therapeutic interventions that come into play, like psychodynamics, cognitive behavioral therapy, DBT. Really depends on the treatment that is tailored to the client, what they need. But it's kind of nice to learn all of those treatments and see what works best for the client.
yeah, awesome. So I'll go into the next question here that says, what made you choose these roles that you're in?
Oh,
Mm.
if I were to put it in one statement, I'd say my passion to help people.
Hmm.
Yeah, I really feel like I'm driven to help people. And as I was seeking these jobs during my undergraduate degree, I felt like I wanted to test the waters, as they say. I want to see outside of the books. And it made me even more want to pursue further education to get my professional license and to help even more.
That is awesome. And what professional license are you shooting for ultimately? What is that title?
It's a clinical psychologist.
Okay, great.
That's-
Awesome. And I guess it's piggybacking off of the last question, but
Mhm.
let's see what you think about it. How did you get into this field? Maybe logistically, how did you find the programs that you're in and the
Mhm.
jobs that you're in now?
So, as far as if I may answer this in terms of the field in general of mental health, um, I was primarily on a pre med track. My plan A was pre med to do a neurosurgeon. And then my plan B was psychology. And I applied to different universities and I ended up getting accepted. And I got a good scholarship for the Plan B university, which offered psychology. And it was specialized in special education and psychology. And I was very fond of the program itself. And I ended up taking it, and I don't regret anything at all. I'm very happy that I took that route. I feel like I did have the choice, but it kind of chose me along the way. Yeah,
Yeah, I can relate to that. I'm going to be going for my social work degree, trying to get that master's as well. So,
that's amazing.
um, yeah. All right. The next question here is, who did you have or do you have in mind to help in your field? So the question specifically just asks, who do you intend to help? Is there a target group?
Anyone. And
Anybody?
honestly, yeah, I believe that um, being culturally sensitive is very important and wanting to help various populations. Throughout my experience, was able to work with children, adults, and elderly. So I feel like I want to be open um, to help anyone, honestly, to
Yeah.
offer that care. I may be having like a preference to work with children along the way, but that is pending. I shall decide during my program if I have a soft spot for kids. But I really feel like it's good not to limit myself to one population if I'm able to offer care to various populations, if that makes sense.
It does.
Yeah.
Specifically, if I could share for myself, like I'm going to do social working and I would like to work with children and children in the foster care system. I have
Okay.
a special place in my heart, yeah, for that demographic and that group. That's
Good.
great. Yeah. Okay. So number 5 here says, what are some of the initiatives that your organizations do? Or and then also, what is the positive work that you feel that your organization is doing for the community?
So if I were to talk about my current position with MHSS, I'd say making sure everyone receives the care that they need. Part of my job, I was also doing community outreach, and it really showed me the importance of being there for the community, even though it's a phone away. Part of the project that I was on, we'd reach out to any organization, schools, hospitals, whether it was psychiatry clinics, OBGYNs, and offer to send them brochures and posters for the company's resources. And if you think about this, anyone, at one point in their life goes to a doctor office, and as you're waiting in that doctor's office, you may look around and see that poster. And sometimes people may be going through a lot, and all they need is that sign to look at, that sign to reach out for help. So I really feel that that is the mental health initiative that they started from May, since it was Mental Health Awareness Month, and it's going throughout the whole year now, is very inspiring. I find part
Mhm.
of HSS initiative.
Yeah. And to speak further to that point, since I know a little bit about what you're doing, um, it's really connecting those patients to the services you previously mentioned. So
Yes.
therapy, and we're contracted through different medical and mental health centers in their area to connect those patients with doctors.
Right?
Um, so therapy, psychiatry, as you mentioned, and a few of these specialty therapies as well.
Yeah.
Awesome. Great. For the next question, do you feel that what you're doing is important and impactful?
Absolutely, wholeheartedly. I feel like psychology as a realm in and of itself is in anything in life, whether you believe it or not. Having that background and wisdom, if I may say, is very important to be able to understand the people around you on a day to day basis. Um, Knowing that each one of us go through stuff individually, and sometimes it's tough, but it's good to have those resources out there. And unfortunately, we are at a point in life where there's a shortage as far as appreciation within the human services, positions or whatnot. So, of course, I'm very happy to be embarking this journey and being able to hopefully help people even more.
Yeah, I love that. How about talking about a little bit of the challenges that you or others in your field or in
Mhm.
any helping role, because that's what we're talking about is specifically helping roles, like if there's any challenges that you or your colleagues, peers have run into that you can speak on.
Yeah. So, a few weeks, few weeks, I wish. A few years back, I was working at an inpatient facility, assisting people with both behavioral and mental health care. And the challenges there involved viewing people that were being hired and weren't equipped for the job, and the impact that is has on these people that are seeking the care. It kind of showed me how corrupt the system may be. There's more appreciation to psychiatrists administering medication, the stigma for patients that have mental health, rather than appreciating, talk therapy as one of the services there. So I speak from personal experience. This is one of the challenges that I've seen, seeing people being around people that need the help and not giving them that help appropriately. And that really showed me that some patients that came into that inpatient facility, they never um, sought help again. They never responded to the talk therapist. So it's very hard to give them a wrong idea, if I may say. If this field is not for you, it's not, nothing's wrong with walking out and trying to find something else. It's not for everyone. And I'm just gonna, leave it at that.
I think that's a good point that you're making. It kind of goes back to one of our other questions when I asked you, do you feel like what you're doing is important and impactful? I think, like you said, you have a passion for this. And if you didn't, um, it could be a result of the situation you just mentioned, where you're turning people away from getting help. And that's not good. That's not what this field is about.
The wrong idea of what help is. It's not just um, taking a medication and hoping it'll make you feel better. It's more than that. It really is. There's a lot of resources out there, and I'd say ignorance is not bliss. Educate yourself before you seek to educate the people around you.
Mm, yeah, that's a good point too. Make sure that you have the heart for it and be real with yourself if you don't. And
Yeah,
then, yes, absolutely. Pay attention in your classes, pay attention to your organization, your agency that you're working with. That's what we're learning right now, um, about the ethical codes and standards
right?
and your local laws too. Um, that's a great answer. All right. I'm just trying to track where I was on here.
Yeah,
And I think you just spoke to one of my additional questions, kind of a sub question under that, which was the lack of resources available to clients or patients. And if
yeah,
you've run into that or seen that, and it sounds like you have.
yeah,
Yeah, and that's something that we're all going to try to combat, right? And
yeah.
hopefully get to
Unfortunately,
a place.
yeah, it's doable if you educate yourself, educate the people around you, and believe it or not, a lot of people are choosing the field of psychology in hopes that, you know, we can make a change. We can't change the world, but you can start from one person, and hopefully that will create a ripple effect.
Yeah, absolutely. All right. Talk about the skills necessary for working in a helping or social service role. What type of person is a good fit for the social human service role in a
Mhm.
helping capacity?
So I believe among the skills for that is being culturally competent, empathetic, and professional. That's a big one too. These are the main skills that I think about that are necessary um, to even consider getting into a field like mental health.
Yeah, I 100% agree. Tell me about any successes that you've had in your field so far.
Um, I mean, I feel not to talk too much, but I feel like a lot of successes are along the way, as well as failures that lead you to success.
Mm.
One story that I'm quite proud of. This was a few years back too, when I was working in an inpatient facility. I was an undergrad, and I chose that job to gain experience within the field. And I remember, so I want you to visualize the scenario. We had a high equity of 23 patients on the unit. I'd work with psychiatrists, uh, psychiatry nurse practitioners, social workers on that unit. And on that day, I noticed a gentleman. To give you a little bit about his demographics, he was in his late 30s, early 40s. He was sitting on the floor, hugging his knees. His head is buried between his knees, and he's sitting on the corner. And I noticed that it was a very busy day. Maybe the nurses were not paying attention. And I just like looked by and I noticed him sitting there. I went to him and I kneeled down and I told him, "Hey, what's going on?" Mind you, a 40-year-old, you'd say like, what would put him in such a position like that? I mean, this is what society would say, but I'm not somebody to judge. And that's why I did what was within my intention to see what's going on. And I looked at him and he did not know how to speak at first. I felt like he was going through something. So I sat with him And I told him, I understand sometimes it gets heavy, but maybe if you talk it out, get it off of your shoulders, it will help. And he started not to get into too many details there to respect confidentiality. Um, I remember telling him, he was telling me that he was going through a lot of family issues. He feels like he's not enough, not able to provide for his kids, and he's been going through a lot of feelings of depression and anxiety. And I told him, let's create a plan for you. And I pulled a piece of paper and a pencil and I told him, let's write that down. And he looked at me and I saw a 3 year old, as if a 3 year old was looking at my face, and he said, I can't write and read. Within me, it broke my heart that maybe he did not have the resources or the privilege to maintain an education like everyone else.
Hmm.
And at that moment in time, I came up with an idea and it just came so random. I told him, let's create a map. And he looks at me, his eyes were so bright, I still remember, and he told me, "What is that?" I told him, "Come on, let's go to this room and set you up for a plan." And I started telling him, "What's the first thing of your hierarchy of priorities, what I called, that you want to focus on?" He said, "Take my medication." I told him, "Okay, well, you can draw, right?" He looked at me, I'm like, "Whatever, scribble." And he drew like a med, and I told him, you do an arrow, what's the next thing you want to focus on? He's like, my kids. Told him, okay, go ahead and draw your kids. And we ended up making that map
Oh,
in tailored to himself, whatever made sense to him. And he folded it, thanked me, and he went back to his room. At that moment and phase in my life, it brought me a sense of relief that I don't have my license. I'm not there yet, but I was able to make an impact for this person. The next day, I heard he was discharged, went back to his family, and I still remember that night he told me, I'm gonna keep a hold of this. Thank you so much for believing that you could help me regardless of my shortcomings." And that's just something that I will remember forever. It's a success for me for sure.
wow. That's a powerful story. I love that.
Thank you.
That's
Yeah.
amazing. He obviously felt very encouraged after that. I don't know how anyone couldn't. That's awesome.
Yeah.
It definitely reiterates that you're in the right place, doing the right thing. What was your role in the inpatient facility?
I was a mental health technician.
Okay.
Hmm.
That's something I've looked into myself. We might talk a little more about that on our
Yeah.
own time. But yeah, that is wow, that's really great. Thank you for sharing that story.
I'm happy to be able to share one of my successes early on.
Yes. And I believe you'll have many more knowing you. All
Yeah.
right. So for this next one, I'm just going to ask, and we've been covering this already throughout our conversation, but um, we could reiterate it if you think that'll be the right answer for it. But it says, talk about the mental health landscape currently and what you feel it's lacking, if anything.
Um, I feel like it's lacking consideration to culturally sensitive trainings that are essential within the workplace. I know it's been something that's been considered, um, you know, recently more than before, but I feel like there's a need for that more now than ever.
I agree. That's a part of what we're learning right now.
Yeah,
In my state of Georgia, there's a big Hispanic community, and that's what we will have to, if we're working in Georgia, consider and be culturally sensitive about, and learning how to work with those types of clients and understanding all kinds of backgrounds. So, a multicultural human services approach
absolutely.
is needed, not just in Georgia, but
Oh,
everywhere.
yeah, overall, for sure.
How do you maintain being a positive helper in your clients' and patients' lives?
Reminding myself of the bigger picture. why I chose to do this, and still trying to enjoy and benefit from the resources I have along the way.
Hmm. I like that.
Professors, colleagues, even clients. You learn from your clients as much as they learn from you. Whether you point it out or not, along the way you will notice that they teach you a lot about yourself in silence. Yeah,
Hmm. I like that.
yeah.
Okay. Um, all right. It looks like this is our last question. How about can you talk about any suggestions that you have for those looking to get into these roles?
I'd say this is a good question.
Yeah.
Um, Follow your intentions.
Mm.
If you have good intentions and the will to help, believe in it. Even though you might go through bumpy roads along the way, know that you'll get there if you have it within you, regardless of what you um, may go through. Just keep going.
Yeah. I like that.
Yeah,
Awesome. Well, thank you, Zaina. I'm going to conclude this interview. I appreciate you doing this for me.
yeah. Thank you for having me.
All right.